Alright. Now I get it. What's up, people? But then some word. Ah, boy. I tell you so sometimes, you have to fight extra hard. I'm just having some issues right now, people. I'm not talking about the cool outside. uh, uh, I'm having lots of things are happening right now. Yeah, there's lots of happenings. Today I go out of town. I went out of town today just to see if the snow in our different town. I go out of town today to see if the snow out of town is like the same snow in a full town. Apparently it is. And it's cold everywhere. So that was fun. Seriously. Just to go somewhere you never been before and figure out how to get there and all of them things there. Even though you have Google right at your fingertip and everybody thinks all you have to do is say, Google, get me there. Right, people? But just the adventure, that was nice. Talking to somebody where no food, that was nice. Look, when people used to be craftsmen and women, things used to be nice. You know what I say? When people study them craft and they're good at it, competition, that brings out the best in our people. Not just to critic them, sit down there, criticize people and I say people can't do this and people can't do that and all of that stuff. Honestly, not feeling that. So, talking to a person who knows food and stuff like that, it was really, really nice. It was really refreshing. I'm telling you, I can't talk about food all day, all night. The art of food. Creating from scratch. Making your sauces. Whatever if you simmer overnight. Or you have to make fresh salad dressing. Hors d'oeuvres. There's so much different aspect of the art of cooking. You have people specialize in carving fruits and I met some of them chefs that will do that. And have some serious skills. Alright, people, so other than my own issues that when we need tissues with, it's always educational for us to be educated. Now, I talk about Marcus Garvey, I talk about Josheph Patterson, right? And I said I'm gonna do a couple more videos with Mr. Patterson, right? And this was on his channel 2 years ago. Who or What Killed Him? Marcus Garvey, Who or What Killed Him by Josheph Patterson. Now, when you look on them video here 2 years ago and see how people used to talk about this man and how him refreshing to Jamaica and everything, right? Everybody was on board with him. And then I told you, incident comes up, and then it's like he's tossed to the side. Mr. Patterson is not important. URC is not important anymore. So I'm gonna make him talk about how him feel about Marcus Garvey, right? And again, this man says he's not a politician, and he doesn't look at things like how politicians look at things. So we're gonna make him go and talk as we proceed.
Let's try again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Amazing. Yes, you can hear. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Excellent. Thank you for your patience. I just restarted, and so now we are in business. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for patiently waiting on my new microphone. Look at this. It is a new microphone. I replaced the previously new microphone and still had problems with the system. Not sure why it keeps giving all this problem, but that's good. Anyways, tonight I want to talk to you about Marcus Garvey. I want to talk about what killed Marcus Garvey. You know, what killed Marcus Garvey? I want to talk about that. Sometimes we talk about our heroes, and then we forget about them, we remember them faintly, and we don't remember the history. You know, what brought down the great man? What prevented Marcus Garvey from achieving the magnificent plans that he had for the black race? And mind you, Marcus Garvey achieved a phenomenal amount of accomplishments for a man of his time. If you think about it, he was an immigrant to America. He was never a citizen. And here was this immigrant in America who gave a tremendous amount of motivation, enthusiasm, pride in the black Americans. And so tonight we want to look at his life a little bit more closely, or at least one aspect of it. I want to look at what brought him down, so you can see parallels and you can be careful as you deal with future developments. Yeah. So good evening all of you. Trudian, good to see you on. Good evening, Oral Parchment. Good evening, Kameh Locke over there in where are you again, Kameh? In what you call it, Luana, St. Elizabeth. Good evening, Anthony. Good to see you. Kenrick Gordon, Mr. Vice President. Good to see you, sir. Maurice Williams, excellent. Good to see you. Accomplishments of Marcus Garvey. You have to think about it in the context of a very racially charged era. An era where we didn't have all the technologies we have today. So they didn't have cell phones and he built a massive enterprise in spite of all of that. Good evening, Carol. Good evening, Desmond Myrie. Good to see you. So Marcus Garvey built a massive black enterprise at a time when the black race was under tremendous pressure from their colonial masters. And he could have done a lot more. And the question is, what stopped him? What killed him? What prevented him from achieving the massive goals that he set? What cut him short? What prevented Marcus Garvey from reaching the pinnacle of the plans he had for the black race? And he achieved much. You know, Marcus Garvey organized the black men and women in a tremendous way. They had a lot of industry, including the Black Star Line. They had shops, they had manufacturing plants, they had a military wing, they had a medical wing. His enterprise of black nationals spread across different countries. from Africa, of course, to the US. And Marcus Garvey was a Jamaican. He was born here in Jamaica, St. Anne's Bay. But he was rejected by his own people. Don't forget that. He was rejected by his own people. And he
You hear that? That, I don't know how comes it's always that way though. The people that try make a difference, them get the most fight from the people them where them a fight for. That's the syndrome. Where people are tell you say this is gonna be better for you. When you look upon it and you say no, we don't want that. Give me Barabbas.
And he was kicked out of Jamaica, if you look into the history. And he was kicked out of Jamaica by the colonial masters working through Jamaicans. So they used our fellow Jamaicans to undermine Marcus Garvey and pushed him out of Jamaica. He created the first political party in Jamaica, the Marcus Garvey People Political Party, that was created before the two colonial parties. And even though he was the first one to create a political party in Jamaica, the first one to organize the people politically in Jamaica, we don't hear about him today. You don't hear about the PPP today as a significant party. You'd imagine that it would have been a strong force for good for the black masses. But instead, we ended up with two parties being led by two white men. Imagine that. And those two parties being led by those two white men got the special support of the colonial masters. And when it came time for them to write new laws for Jamaica, these two parties worked closely with the colonial masters to ensure that we had a constitution that would be very favorable to our colonial masters. And that has remained so from the first set of redrafting of the laws to make the Negroes feel like they were getting somewhere. From 1944 to now, those two parties that were created or led by two white men still exist today. The Marcus Garvey Party no longer exists, and they have survived, and he was crushed, and his party was crushed, and he was pushed out of Jamaica. And even though he was an immigrant in the US, he was more successful than these two parties at giving the black masses of America pride, helping them to organize into a powerful social, political, and economic unit. He was so powerful that the American government had to create a particular segment of the CIA to go after him and to...
So now you know why them have to kick him out of Jamaica, because them see him potential. And that's one of the things I say, sometimes some people don't give you the opportunity because they see the potential. And I say, if you don't want the seed to grow, you don't water it. Okay? So when him got the states, it's like, I'm just leave him alone. And when them say, oh, by the way, them turn around and say what he's accomplished. But when in that Jamaica, everybody have them eyes on him, all of the spies. And the man, that may I try to show you, it doesn't matter where you go, your greatness I go there. And the greatness is you. As we proceed.
CIA to go after him and to find any way possible to bring him down. And they created spurious charges. They lied on him. They framed him. They misrepresented him in order to bring him down and destroy his movement and scatter the black sheeps so that they could be easily divided and devoured by the white colonial masters. Amazing, isn't it? Is it possible? Is it possible that we might repeat what we said we would not have done if we were around at the time of Marcus Garvey? How many of you would have just quickly said, I would never have participated in bringing down Marcus Garvey and the UNIA if I was alive back then? But is it possible that you may stand by and allow that to happen now? Allow them to divide us, allow them to distract us, allow them to devour us and scatter us again, so that the two colonial parties can remain firmly in place to divide and distract the Jamaican people, while a few wealthy folks and those connected to them extract the wealth of the Jamaican people and suck us dry. There's not much more left for them to suck, and they're sucking every day. Every day there's a sucking vacuum that's just pulling out the wealth of the...
And it's true. I said that before. It's like a vacuum plugged into Jamaica, and all the money, everything, the resources is just getting vacuumed. And the people, they're not... This is why what Burkina Faso is doing is so amazing overall. Because it's not about people not getting rich. It's about a few getting rich and everybody is suffering. Why does it have to be so much pain when all you have to do is just be satisfied with your riches instead of wanting all the riches? Everything. That's a crazy thing, you know. And the fact that it doesn't make sense. The very fact that it doesn't make sense. To us at least. So how does it make sense to us, such a small minority? Just give back a little, because Jamaica has so much. As we proceed.
Every day there's a sucking vacuum that's just pulling out the wealth of the Jamaican people. Whether it's by foreigners owning our tourism sector, whether it's by the mining corporations being given the right to mine away our assets that can never be replaced, whether it's massive corruption in Petrojam or in our Ministry of Education, whether it's taking money from the colonial masters to sell us out, even to sell our bodies. It's coming back. I think it's over. It's not over. They're not finished with Jamaica yet. There's still more pounds of flesh for them to extract from us. And so while they will do everything to divide and distract, they're still going to consistently sell out the Jamaican people. The two major political parties have been in the business of selling Jamaica. They've been selling all of our assets, left, right, and center. Every year they sell more and more of our assets down to the people of Jamaica. The Prime Minister is now ready to import skilled labor. After his party and the other one has been in office for more than 78 years, they're telling us now that we're not good enough. They will have to import skilled laborers because we are not good enough. What an indictment on their stewardship of our country. What an indictment of their stewardship in our country. And here you have it. Our very black brothers and sisters, some of us, are right this minute, even as we speak, concocting all manner of strategies to make sure that they repeat what was done to Marcus Garvey. I want you to take a look at the man, Marcus Garvey, and what he has done for us. The man that our own leaders destroyed. prevented him from creating a new race of black men and women, a race that would no longer be mentally bound in slavery, a race that would understand the value of liberty, a race that would know the importance of productivity, a race that would not be living for handout and charity, a race that would be supreme in its understanding of its role in the universe as one that should never be subservient to any other race. That's the man that they killed. And you need to know why, you need to know how, so that we don't repeat it again. I want you to watch this. Watch this carefully, because it is going to show you, it's going to explain to you, in brief, who the man is, and we're going to look at how they killed him, how we killed him, and how we might do it again. Watch carefully.
Okay, now, the thing about it is with Marcus Garvey, right? When I did Marcus Garvey, if Marcus Garvey did give the power to his wife, right? If they did share power, and that's what I'm saying when it comes to certain position, right? It would have been better to share the power than just one person. And that's why I don't think it should be one leaders. I think it should be collectively, like an assembly, where like a doctor, psychiatrist, scientists, environmentalists, if all of these groups come together, sit at a table and say, for us to better ourselves, okay, like if they created like a, so he has like he has like a manifesto. So I'm saying if all of these people sat down and they created a manifesto for us to follow, right? Everybody wants change. This is the manifesto that all of these scientists and these great scholars sat down, and all of these parties from the ocean people, you know, just all the collective minds just have a meeting. Like you see how them have like the United Nations meetings, right? This is how they would have it set up, and them would have like a conference, like for a year, 2 year, just every month them gather up, because this would be like, you know, changing. That would be something. Trust me, that would be something. As we proceed.
Was born August 17, 1887, in St. Ann's Bay, Jamaica. He was the last of 11 children born to Marcus Garvey Sr. and Sarah Jane Richards. His father was a stonemason, and his mother was a domestic worker and farmer. Garvey's father was known to have a large library where the young Garvey learned to read. At age 14, he became a printer's apprentice, and in 1903 he traveled to Kingston, Jamaica, and soon became involved.
And that's the next thing too. Man, there's so much to it, like apprenticeship. Like we don't have apprenticeship programs. But like that one of the big things, you know. Like for architects and like all of the great knowledge that is there is not being harnessed. So me tell you say it's when them people are taught, the politician them taught, they're not, it's just a comedy show. When you listen to them just a joke, them just them attack, use word where just a, it's so condescending how them talk. It's just so, you know, your face lie how them talk. If we have educated people who can say no, you know, say my lie, and then can look upon him and say, okay, you're lying. But everybody I say yes, 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 and then after them all come to the why say it's a lie after when I say that are the truth then? As we proceed.
And soon became involved in union activities. He also took part in a printer strike in 1907 and realized his passion. 3 years later, Garvey traveled throughout Central America, working as a newspaper editor, and wrote about the exploitation of migrant workers in the plantations. He later attended Birkbeck College, known now as the University of London, and worked for the African Times and Orient Review, which advocated Pan-African nationalism. By 1912, Garvey returned to Jamaica and founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association with the goal of uniting all African diaspora to establish a country and absolute government of their own. He created the red, black, and green flag to symbolize black unity. Red is for the color of the blood which men must shed for their redemption and liberty. Black is the color of the noble and distinguished race to which we belong. And green is for the luxuriant vegetation of our motherland. Garvey traveled to the United States in 1916. He settled in New York City and formed a UNIA chapter in Harlem. There he promoted a separatist philosophy of social, political, and economic freedom for blacks. He held large branch meetings where entire families gathered for a day of debates, fashion shows, classical music plays, and theatrical acts. With the UNIA, Garvey gave his followers, who were dispossessed amongst the majority, a sense of belonging. For the young people, there was the UNIA Juvenile Division, where children studied the Bible, the doctrine of the UNIA, and the history of Africa. Girls were taught sewing, boys woodcraft, and both received further instruction in black history and etiquette. At the age of 13, boys received military training to prepare them for the membership in the African Legion, while girls learned hygiene and domestic science in order to prepare them to be Black Cross nurses. There was also the Motor Corps, where members were trained in military discipline in automobile driving and repair.
All of the good things, them. Discipline, right? They were learning skills. They're becoming like part of society with skills. That's why I say I always respect skills. I always respect skills. So these are the things that used to give us some form of integrity. The in-depthness of these things is so important.
Were trained in military discipline in automobile driving and repair. In 1918, Garvey began publishing the widely distributed newspaper, Negro World, to convey his message. It had a worldwide circulation of over 100,000 people, and in 1919, Garvey and the UNIA launched the Black Star Line, a shipping company to establish trade and commerce between Africans in America, the Caribbean, South and Central America, Canada, and Africa.
Okay, and this is what they said. This is what the story I heard, that he just wanted to take all the Africans back to Africa. The main objective was him to. They didn't talk about that he wanted to create, like, this is all jobs, because people can trade them goods, people can travel, work all over. So it was a network he was creating, not just for tech. So even how they talk about his story is not even properly talked about.
In Africa. Also that year, he established the Negro Factories Corporation and offered stock for African Americans to buy. He wanted to produce everything that a nation needed so that African Americans could completely rely on their own efforts. At one point, the corporation operated 3 grocery stores, 2 restaurants, a printing plant, a steam laundry, and owned several buildings and trucks in the New York City area alone. In August 1920, the UNIA held its first international convention at Madison Square Garden. Before a crowd of 25,000 people from all over the world, Garvey spoke of having pride in African history and culture. Marcus Garvey and his organization, the UNIA, represented the largest mass movement in African American history. Proclaiming a black nationalist back to Africa message, Garvey and the UNIA had over 1 million members and had established 700 branches in 38 cities by the early 1920s. Marcus Garvey...
This is before telephone. This is before TikTok, Instagram. This was before YouTube. This man had the ability to speak to people, to let them understand, and there was willing people to listen and participate. Thanks for the thumbs up, people. People put in a comment in the comment section so we can continue grow the channel, because that's one of the things them highlight to the comments them. So people, all of this stuff is so informative, and it sounds so amazing. Right? As we proceed.
38 cities by the early 1920s. Marcus Garvey was an entrepreneur, publisher, educator, and civil rights activist, and the founder of the Pan-African movement, and by far is still one of the most influential individuals of the African diaspora.
One of the most influential people. To say the greatness, that we possess.
So, what have we learned from that little episode about Marcus Garvey? You should have noticed that he actually overcame tremendous odds to achieve what he did. But there's something that is at play in the black race that we need to understand. The black man, having gone through slavery and colonialism, is very leader-centric. He has learned no longer to trust himself. He has learned to depend on others. And you'll notice that throughout the years of what you call it again? AIDS. They kept getting AIDS. And here in Jamaica, when I was growing up as a child, we used to clap when our politicians, the people around me, I would see them clapping and cheering when our politicians came back and tell us that they got AIDS, or they got loans, or they got grants. And even now you see the same thing in the current crop of politicians. They love to go away and get goodies and come back, and they like to tell you that you're depending on this country or that country to give them some kind of a aid. And so Marcus Garvey was trying to correct the deformity in our minds, the deformity of wanting handouts, the deformity of wanting charity, the deformity of believing that somebody else must come and save us, somebody outside of ourselves, some outside sources must come and save us. And he was able to, for a brief moment, overcome that crippling effect for a large number of black people who were beginning to unlearn what they were being taught. You would notice that after Garvey, the people slipped back into their normal mode, and you saw persons like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X emerging, and they were diametrically opposed. Malcolm X understood the principles and teaching of Marcus Garvey, that we should never seek equality with anyone. We must assume that we're already equal. We must not seek to be eating in their restaurants or at their lunch counters or riding on their buses. We should be seeking to own the buses, own the lunch counters, own the restaurants, and own the hotels. But there are some black men and women among us who are quite contented with the existing state of affairs. They oftentimes like the idea of being able to be a part of the systems and structures that make them feel safe. Safe in the practices of the colonial masters, safe in the strictures of the colonial masters. And so there are many Jamaicans who feel safe in keeping Jamaica the way it is. Maybe they're afraid of the possibility of freedom. They're afraid of what might happen if, for some strange reason, the colonial masters' political system and their political parties and their economic model is somehow shattered. They're afraid of being free. They love being slaves, even if it means that they're, a house slave. You'll see that even in the action of our Prime Minister, how he was proud to become a QC, to get an award from the colonial masters. He's proud to invite them to his country and pay for them to come and show them off to the rest of Jamaica, because he's comfortable in that arrangement. He's okay with being in a colonial system and structure. He's okay and he feels good to go to America and beg a few shillings and come back to Jamaica. They're stuck. And so you see, some of them, when they see the principles of Marcus Garvey, the teachings of Marcus Garvey, the leadership of Marcus Garvey coming back, because Garvey told us he would come back. He told us that they can't kill him forever. But they are determined every time that there's a possibility of true black greatness rising. We're not talking about sellout blacks. We're not talking about leaders who have the color black, but they don't have the interest of the black man at heart. They don't have the desire to see real liberation of black people. So they're only black in color. They're not black in purpose. They're not black in mission. They're not black in reality. They're just black by nature. And so when they see any possibility of change in that direction, their first instinct is to kill it. Sometimes they don't even know that that's what they're doing, but it's so coded into their DNA that they do it automatically. Some people call it the crab in a barrel mentality. They're afraid of their friends getting ahead because they're like, oh my gosh, we're not supposed to go too far. It's like going into a ghetto community or into a gang, and you have a person who wants to leave the gang or wants to leave the ghetto and elevate themselves. And you'll find that their very friends will stab them in the back, will sell them out in order to prevent them from getting out of the gang or getting out of the ghetto. Well, it's not just a gang or a ghetto, it is an entire country of people. You have people who are afraid of even contemplating a Jamaica that is not controlled by one of the two colonial parties. Even after you educate them to realize that they're not voting for alternatives, they're voting for the choices that are placed before them, they will still vote for it anyway. They will retire in their minds and convince themselves that they can't do any better. It's like a woman in an abusive relationship. And when she look at the abuse that she's getting, and then but she look at the man, and for some reason she has concluded in her mind that she can't live without him. How is she going to survive if he is not in her life, even though he's battering her, he's abusing her, he's not treating her with respect, he's not loving her? Every indication is that he's using her and he hates her.
Also, it doesn't have to be him, because women does equally well. Woman does damage to men too, right? Not might be physical, right? It might be emotional, right? So it's not just a man doing it to a woman. As we proceed, just saying, it has to be balanced, people. But just I say, some woman do damage. Cause the video, that video that I saw, that woman was doing damage. If you not saw that video on Instagram, okay, that was sensation. I'm just using that for an example, okay? That woman does do damage, and there's proof. As we proceed.
Indication is that he's using her and he hates her, but she can't see herself outside of his relationship, and so she remains in it until one day she's a statistic. One day the abuse goes too far and she has lost the remainder of her life. We're suffering the same thing here in Jamaica. We have killed several third parties in this country. We have killed many prophets in the entire black ecosystem, from Africa to Jamaica to the US. What killed Marcus Garvey?
Again, right? All of these, that's what I'm trying to show you. Greatness comes from everywhere, but greatness always has to be. There's never a campaign for evil has to be defeated. It's always greatness has to be defeated. And the only reason why it works that way, because it's always people are complacent to let it happen. As we proceed.
What killed Marcus Garvey more than anything else was a broken heart.
And again, broken heart for what? Why was his heart broken? Because if there's someone else so great and do so much for so many people, why was his heart broken? It's not because of his accomplishment.
When he saw all of his life's work, all of his ambitions, all of his mission to elevate a people being snuffed out by the very people he gave his life for.
That's it right there, people. This is where we end the live and say, drop the mic. Not you. Because how can you fight for the people that will hate you? Knowing there's people out there who hate you because you take breath. But them not hate themselves because them a take the same breath where you a take. I tell you, say, it's a thought that people create that makes them crazy. Because a sane person, right, is gonna have thoughts that are sane. But a person who's crazy create thoughts that makes him crazy. As we proceed,
his life for. The very people he loved and cared for. The very people he tried to elevate sought to destroy him. Why? Very simple. In the white race, in the Chinese race, in the Indian race, you will notice they do something far better than the black race. Here's what they do. They learn how to unite. And they learn how to unite around very positive causes. Positive for their interest. It might not be positive for the interest of the other race, but they unite around positive.
Positive. And all of them heroes, all of the people them want to go through for the whole month are people them where the negative situation with them face, them encounter. Them have to be positive. Them creativity and them genius shines through all of the negative. Imagine people who can broke color barrier. Imagine the very thought of breaking something that don't even exist. Because when you not see it that way there. When you just see it say, we're not in the position to win all the time. But all of them great people that win every time. Every position with them, every challenge, every obstacle with them face, them win. Every opportunity where them get, they make the best side. So that's the difference between then and now. This one I have to highlight them things here.
Interests for themselves and their people and their country. When Christopher Columbus came to the so-called New World, he didn't come alone. He came with many men and supplies. He couldn't fund it by himself. He got funding from a number of people. People who didn't even set foot on the ship. People who have never seen the New World. But they cooperated. They united. They formed a cooperation. And then they pursued a dangerous, unknown venture based on a theory that none of them could prove until it is proven. And they set sail and they went out and they conquered an entire half of the world, if you will. Our people, when they came to our shores in Africa, our people chose to admire them, to cooperate with them, to work with them, and lost an entire continent to them. Today, we do the same thing. We will choose money over freedom. We will choose scarce benefits and spoil over the bigger picture of a free nation that gives us a chance at real, lasting prosperity. We will easily give up because somebody tells us that something is bad. I'll give you an example. I recently saw someone resign, a candidate resign from the UIC. On investigation, I find out that the candidate resigned from the UIC because the candidate heard some bad news in the public sphere. The candidate didn't find it necessary to call me and to ask about it and to investigate it before reaching a conclusion. It's as if we love bad news, we love gossips, and we act upon them without careful investigation. We don't take the time to carefully investigate and understand. We just make snap decisions. In my experience in building this organization, and remember, I'm not a politician. I was not involved in any of the other two parties. I had watched and observed my mother being involved in them, but I was never a politician. But one thing I observed as I build the United Independence Congress, as I build this organization, one thing I notice, our people are not good at building. We're very good at tearing down. We're very good at criticizing. We're very good at giving advice to tell others what they should do. We're talkers. We're not doers. When we come to any organization, we like for it to be ready-made, done, and complete by somebody else. And that is how the Europeans keep destroying us. That's how the Westerners keep destroying us. I've been to several meetings where they come to our country and invite us to talk about new laws or new policies that they would like for us to implement. And what I notice they always do, they don't ask us to do anything in detail. They rent a nice place like at the Pegasus, nice chandeliers, nice light, nice tables and chairs, nice food. They give us breakfast and lunch or dinner, muffins, donuts, whatever it is. They prepare all the documentation.
It's sweet to know first, I saw it going,
Lovely PowerPoints. And they come and they present to us and then put us into little groups and say, discuss what they have placed in front of us. And somehow, by the time they're finished, we start calling what they put in front of us ours. What we stand for, what we are doing. I wonder if you see what I'm talking about. And so by the time the thing is over, here's what happened. They have successfully brainwashed us into believing that we are implementing a law of our own accord, when instead all we're doing is regurgitating what they have planted in our minds. Because we're lazy. We don't want to take the time to focus, to design and build something. And that is why the two major parties have lasted so long. They were not built by us. They were built by our colonial masters working through agents among us. And so the agents have carried out what the colonial masters say they should, designed the political system the colonial masters say they should, and everything in Jamaica is designed by the colonial masters for the Jamaican people, to keep the Jamaican people down, and it has worked. They have so messed up our minds, from chattel slavery to now mental slavery. They have worked on us, and it has worked. Their strategy has proven to be 100% effective. They have brainwashed us into self-hate. They have brainwashed us into laziness, dependency. We don't want to build anything. So when we come to an organization like the UIC, we want everything to be done for us. Mr. Patterson must get everything done. Mr. Patterson must raise all the money. So you have candidates who come, and they come, they don't help to raise any funds. They just want funds. I'm a candidate. Where's the funds? Give me some funds. Mr. Candidate, we have to raise the funds. Raise the funds? What do you mean, raise the funds? They don't want to raise no funds. They don't want to spend any time doing the work of building. You say, go out and get your 12. They don't want it. They want me. I must run up and down and be a clown so that the party is popular, and then they just get an easy influx of members, a very easy influx of members. Marcus Garvey taught us that we have to organize. We have to be industrious. We have to depend on ourselves. We have to be self-reliant. We must not look for the easy way out. The easy way out is a trap. This is the easy way out. The easy way out is how you catch a bird. You go out into a clear spot and you throw down some free corn and let the bird come and eat the free corn. The first time the bird comes, it's going to be timid, careful, checking out the area carefully. It will be cautious, and it will cautiously come and eat a few grains and look around, eat a few more grains and look around again until it gets a little bit more comfortable. And every day you drop a little bit more grain, little grain, instead of a box with a stick and a cord, and you keep putting the grain.
Yeah, we used to catch enough bird back home, you know. I what we call it? A swear blind say a calabash we used to call it. The bird trap them. Trust me, man. I tell you something, I did have a cousin, man. He did crazy for making them bird thing there. I tell you so the creativity when we did have when we did younger. Holy man. We used to create so much stuff with the own mind. Jesus. And I know them people get so limited, boy. Go and talk Mr. Patterson, yeah, sir.
And a cord. And you keep putting the grains until it goes under the box. The bird comes every day and eat the free grain, 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 until he goes right under the box. And you draw the string, and he's trapped. That is exactly what has been happening to us over 78 years. Now we're trapped. We're trapped. We have no jobs. Our industries are gone. Our dollar is useless. Crime is rampant. Our young people are hopeless. And now we're looking around and saying, what has happened to us? That has happened to us. We have been lazy. We have been lacking in productivity. We have been dependent. We have been too focused on getting something for free, getting charity, instead of working for what we want. And that mentality has kept us from building and owning our own political movement. Mark?
Okay, one question. How much... when the man say this, how much shopper you think I can vote for him? Just I say, them truth don't go down too good with enough people. That's why I say that man you not get no promotion at all, because nobody not face them things here. And the same thing with Marcus Garvey was trying to implement the people them. That's why I say, well, okay, if Marcus Garvey accomplished so much, how him can die of a broken heart? And the man, right around the world, the man is acknowledged as one of the best. How much other leaders the man inspire, and the man still die of a broken heart. Eh? Go on, sir.
Movement. Marcus Garvey wanted us to have social, political, and economic independence. He wanted us to have social, political, and economic freedom. He wanted us to focus on getting freedom instead of equality. He wanted us to not try to be like the white man, but to make sure that we are no less than anyone. And for that to happen, we have to be prepared to work for it.
You see? I want to say hear that. And them say, so I will my talk. So that's why I say them people, it's them do them things, you know, but them not popular. Because them not say the things them are popular. Right? Them not preach and teach the things them will say. Be less of yourself. And them must say be more of yourself. And that's why I say if them did have a forum where all of them people get together, sit down, talk about all of them changes here. Again, it's universal. Because the same thing we might talk about are the same thing we might talk about in America. When we do the live them and the people them might talk and them say in America, and I say it's not just in America. Now if all of them people should connect on one forum where them can internet there, you know. That's what I say. Them really want to change it, or them just a talk to change it? Because if we can't sit down here, so, right, and I look on these things, not just me, AI too, and I say if these things can come together, how comes them can come together and decide the same thing too? Right? Because me tell you, say, all of them are professor, all of them are, you know, them all have big brain, not them all have knowledge and information, and you know, as we proceed.
And so I always told you, the UIC was going to be the People's Party. Let's not kill it like they killed Marcus Garvey. It means we're going to have to stand up against our own, because we have some ignorant black men and women who are determined to destroy Jamaica's future. They're prepared to do anything to destroy Jamaica's future if they can't get the same thing they're used to. If we can't play the game the way they think the game should be played, and play the kind of politics that will lead us right back to being like the other ones, then they think something is wrong.
Okay, alright. So my question is, so one of the things that UIC done, because this video was made 2 years ago, right? I want to know if someone go up on the platform that I mess around with UIC. So are they really dead? Because I'm sure said them 2 years later, some night supposed to be a make about them, something. Right, people? That's why I just want to know. I want to ask question and find out. As we proceed.
But we have to make sure that we don't give up or give in. Marcus Garvey died of a broken heart. He was killed by his own people. He was...
They keep on stressing the facts that the one died of a broken heart, you know. I just wonder if him are the only person who die of a broken heart. Seriously. And what's the difference of dying of a broken heart or dying of anything else? Because again, me say, him success is so great. Me not feel say it's a broken heart. Him never, which part him them said Marcus Garvey said he's gonna die of a broken heart. So maybe him die of disappointment, right? Last night when time I read the book, right? Because actually the book they write just up right beside me, right? I just say how we classify emotions, right? People must say how we classify words, right? Because I'm not saying that it couldn't have been broken heart, but it could have been more disappointment, because me tell you say when him put in all that effort, right, and see his accomplishment, him feel good about him accomplishment, yes. But when him look around and see like say his accomplishment not impress them enough to make a change, that's disappointment. But everywhere you turn, you hear them say, Marcus Garvey died of a broken heart. Marcus Garvey died of a broken heart. Marcus Garvey was married. So, if you're married, you can't die of a broken heart. I'm just saying. Just because me hear it repeat so much times, that's why I say, okay then, wait a minute. Why are we stressing the broken heart about this thing here? Right?
People. He was undermined by his own race. And guess what? It didn't happen by chance. They got help. His own race, his own people was helped by the enemy to kill him. Just like they did with the other great leaders of our history. Don't let history repeat itself. Let us stop history from repeating itself right here. I'm asking all of you to own this political party. Own the UIC, and don't let nobody take it away from you. Own it. I, Joseph L. Patterson, have staked my life, my fortunes, my family on this movement. And some think they can come for a few months and take it over. They think they know what is best because now the hard work has been done. I want you to tell them to go build them own party. Create them own party. Don't come here and seek to take over or mash up what you did not build. Tell them to go somewhere else with that. If they don't like my leadership, that is fine. Go somewhere else. Demonstrate your leadership. You go demonstrate how you can build something. Don't come and tear down anything. Go somewhere else and go show the world what you can build. You don't need to tear down in order to build. Go build. Start from your own foundation and create your own foundation and work your way up. I built this movement when nobody would dare to do so. There have been many third parties before. They tried to play the game the same way as the other one, the handout game. I just went around the road a while ago to look at my Labor Day project that I'll be doing on Monday. And our Labor Day project is one that they can try to criticize me for. It's a very simple project. There's a young man who has nowhere to live. Well, he's not so young actually. He's an old man. Older man. Not old, but older. He has nowhere to live. He has been bouncing about. But we have decided that we're going to build him a one-room house. My neighbor called me and we looked at it. The church was looking at it. And we're going to build him a one-room home. and they asked me to donate some materials to it. I'll tell you what the material is. The material is we need 12 2x4, you know, the wood 2x4 that somebody said they're going to lick me with. We need 12 of those. We need 4 lot, they call it. We need 7 sheet of ply.
All right, people. So that's UIC 2 years ago, right? And again, it's a third party at Jamaica. It's one party. Again, I look at PNP and JLP as one party because again, they're pretty much the same platform. And then you have the the Marcus Garvey part. There's a Marcus Garvey party. And I said I wanted to do a research on the Marcus Garvey movement, if they're still there, and if they're still, you know, because again, everybody look at it and says there's only 2, but there's other options. There's always options for people to look into, but people don't look into other choices. Them just accept that this is how it's gonna be forever. And I'm saying, we are great people. We can do better than how it is. And that we don't realize. People, tell us that the movement is always moving, you know. And greatness is within all of us. Thank you, people. People, it's cold outside and stay warm. I'm telling you, it's really cold outside. The cold turn up. It's February. And then let's see next month, the weather will change and everything will go nice. And then what I go say? What winter? I see this man just shows like ice today, like 2 machine, the people them just a shovel ice and just a pile up the ice. But you know one of the things when I see today, why? At the same time the government they make cuts, it affects so many people. It honestly affect the people them we need, you know, the support. Because them not shovel the snow them on the sidewalk like them used to anymore. Them just, well, I mean, I know. It's just people them just leave everything. Coming like say the whole coming like say the whole place deserted, you know. Coming like say the whole of Canada deserted. Cause it's like the people them just say, alright, you know, so we can't bother with Canada, we just gonna leave Canada. Cause I don't see how the people them have like all the snow them pile up on the sidewalk. And then people there where reach a certain age. People all food, actually no. I'm going to the store today and tell the man for we want chicken. $30 for one chicken, you know. I think a joke. A whole chicken costs $30. No doubt about it. So everything I get expensive. People them left the country in a one bad state. People them now work. So you don't know how pure madness are going. So if you now look out for each other, it now look good. People, it now look good. Yes? No? Maybe? uh, to all of the people them where I got through some tough times. All I know if you do is just hang in there. Things will get better. Right, people? Trying to say things are going on sometimes. Things don't look good, but I know if you hang in there. Work out things. I said today was a nice day. I don't know, every day is a nice day. I said I know if you enjoy the moment then. Right, people? I know I go already. More to come. More to come.